Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Who's joined us today? Hi, Kay. I see you finally have first. You yoinked that from ATD. They didn't show up first today. But hi, Kay. Hi, Orca. Welcome, welcome. Ooh, I discovered that I was talking about this in the Discord, but I have VTube Studio has all sorts of little video effects. I realize I have this one. Hello? Is this thing on? Hmm? Yeah. There are a whole bunch of them, but so far I just have this one and this one. It also affects the little mascots, which I'm realizing for the first time right now. But anyway, how have you guys been? What have you guys been up to? Well, I've not been up to anything interesting, so. Damn, that was sick looking. Yeah, it's surprisingly well. I'm not sure how it works, but I just turn it on. Ow. I just turn it on and instantly it's like that. I combined it with like I think my traumatized toggle, and I like the effect it has. Hi, Seller. Welcome. This in the middle finger would go hard. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Enough. Enough fooling around. Okay. There we are. Okay. New model, but it has a problem. No matter how much I try, it's very phallic shaped, and I can't unsee it. No matter what I did. Hold on. Let me pull up the references. Is this it? No, wrong file. Yeah, this is the model. And these are the little references. I think the chat box is too big. Hold on. Is that the creature from Rain World? Yeah, I think so. It's called a slug cat, I think. They're like, hey, this is my design. Like, yeah, this is my design. I want it based off of the slug cat, but fluffy like this. So yeah, and also purple. So this is what I came up with. I shouldn't have eaten too much pizza. Oh, I'm in the same boat as you. I was walking down the road and I saw this offer for like 4 burgers at like a steal of a price. So I ordered it thinking, okay, I'll have 2 now and then 2 for dinner. That didn't work out because I just ate all of them all at once and then fell into a food coma for like 3 hours. Yeah, I'm still full. Yeah, I don't know what Rain World is, but apparently a lot of people recognize the model from there. So, hold on, let me Google Rain World. It looks familiar. I mentioned I haven't eaten anything. Isn't it like nighttime? That's not good. I don't think this design is too complex. We can probably finish it today. Or can we sentence this filthy relationship havers to banishment? Perhaps. But no, it's fine. Hey, hold on. Julian, no. Hold on. My cat's trying to escape. She was climbing out the window. I literally grabbed her by the tail to pull her back in. Hold on, let me close this. Honestly, these cats. So sorry about that. I literally just turned to the left and I see her like halfway out the window. What's even going on in the chat? Okay. If I focus, we can speed run this one. Speaking of bots, have you noticed there are barely any more of them? Yeah, I was playing around with moderation and all that stuff, banning certain words, etc. And yeah, we haven't seen them in a while. Hi, Goldie. Welcome, welcome. A band snipe's gone? Yeah. At this point, just fire all the Twitch mods. It's okay. How's people doing? I am doing great. Still super full from lunch. I have many regrets. I ordered like 4 burgers, ate them all in one sitting. Yeah. Damn, I'm getting laid off? Yeah, think about it. You won't get paid anymore. Your salary of 0, gone. Said you're not much of an eater? Yeah, that's why I feel like I died after doing so. Because I was watching, I was catching up on my anime. I was watching the new season of Call of the Night. Really good show, by the way. So yeah, I was so focused on that, I didn't realize I ate all of them. Yeah, this cat is trying to escape again, but she doesn't realize I closed the window. I have very disobedient children. But it's okay because they're so cute. Hi, Julian. That's great looking at anime. Yeah, I don't watch too much. I have like a handful of shows, right, that I try to keep up on. This is one of them. I do like a season two because the first one is just like, ooh, vampires are just these people who vibe at night. They're like normal people with powers and pretty cool. The second season is it's kind of delving into how dangerous they can be. So yeah. I've been really liking that part, like the aspect of the lore especially. I don't know, what can I say? I like lore. I took a 2 hour nap. I think that was a mistake because now I'm sleepy. I like lore too. You know, one day I'll have like official lore, and in that lore, it'll be me reading the lore that you made and being like, oh, okay. You know, have you ever watched The Life of Brian? Right? Very old movie. Um, Super dumb. If you're here last stream and we're watching a section of Spaceballs, the movie, that kind of dumb spoof movie. Yeah, Life of Brian is basically like the story of Jesus, but they accidentally think this other guy, Brian, is the Messiah. So literally everything he does, they think is like, worthy of worship and praise. So yeah, they're making up their own headcanon and lore for like literally everything he does. So yeah. I don't think I'll ever make official lore. I'll just use whatever. I'm just a cat on the internet. A cult formed around me. Whatever law you write is just the gospel of the cult. May or may not be true, but but it exists and it's what people believe. I'm back. Made some sandwiches with small sausages and hot sauce. Ooh, that sounds nice. I have not had sausages in a while. You'll just use my AGS lore with way too much stuff for a cat with a staff. Yeah. I just realized Ordi is denser than a neutron star. What gives you that impression? I like this one. It's really silly. Hmm. I was looking for fish eye filters because I saw Vani had one and I really liked it. So while googling it, I realized VTube Studio has like its own inbuilt stuff. So yeah, I was just playing around with it today. It's a random big ass head. Yeah. It doesn't work if I'm like in any other position, except maybe this one. But yeah, it's only sorry, it's only when I'm in this position it works. Otherwise, yeah, it kind of breaks a bit. It's looking into our souls. Yeah, I have gazed deep into your minds. All I see are TikToks and YouTube shorts. Other head or yeah, there's also like a ton of other effects. I just haven't like looked into them. Yeah, my head was safe. I saw a meme about Lord of the Rings where what was it? One of the hobbits, Pippin, I think he looked into one of those orbs and Sauron could like read his mind. and everyone was worried that they would know his plan, but turns out he was an idiot who knew nothing, so like nothing bad happened. I think that was very funny. Speaking of looking into people's minds and finding nothing, yeah, I was remembering that scene. Talking about Lord of the Rings, yeah. By the way, I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I think I've seen the movie and can kind of vaguely remember parts of it. Going on director's cut on 32nd next month. Do you mean like there's a showing of the director's cut? Wait, what month are we in? We're in July. Ah, okay, okay. There's one in the cinema in a city near me. Ah, okay, that sounds like fun. Keep us posted. I realized after moving to this place that there are like conventions and stuff like that here. So I might give it a try. I might like I think I need to settle in a little bit more. Once I'm like a bit more used to this place, then yeah, I can look into like going to places, going to conventions. I was in a We raided one of Feather's friends yesterday and we were talking about a Ren fairs. I really want to go to one. I saw I was visiting one of the other towns here, right? I was visiting one of the other towns here, right? And as I was walking through, it's like a very old historic place. Like the shopping center and everything. They have like really old buildings. They look like medieval taverns, right? And I see like a poster, and it's just saying like, oh, we have a Ren fair next week, and I thought that was really cool. But yeah, this was a while ago when I had like just got here, so mm, yeah, I was like, okay, I'll have to go to the next one. And then I learned you can buy swords from places like that, and they're legal in this country. So yeah. Okay, okay. Let us cool it with the gift war. It does clog up chat, and I do miss a few messages as a result. Well, I don't think he's doxing himself. Unless it's like only one cinema in like one specific city in all of Poland, which is very unlikely. The UK is known for sword fights and yeah, I don't know how true that is. Uh, but I imagine the stereotype does have some truth to it. Anyway, I'm not gonna go find out, so I'll keep it safe. I think I asked Penpin about it once. Now that I think of it, I haven't seen him live for a while. Hang on. Let's do some stalking. Hmm. Here's the last stream. Oh, okay. I see he hasn't streamed in a couple weeks. And then the last thing is last stream before break in Japan. See, that makes sense. Or he's evolved into a stalker. Hey, I'm just wondering. I'm like, hey, I haven't seen him in a while. I wonder what's up. So, yeah. It was curiosity. Okay. But yeah, he apparently he went to Japan, which is why I haven't been seeing him. You know, I follow like a few people and I occasionally pop into their streams. I just realized like I haven't seen him in a while, so I'm like, I hope he's okay. So yeah, he's on our walls. I don't think so. That doesn't sound very comfy. Or Spider-Man? Nah. I have magic. I don't need to like spit webs at people. Or got bitten by a radioactive cat. No, I don't think Wally's radioactive, and he was biting me a lot today. I think he was overexcited, so I just like wave my hand around and he immediately like pounces and tries chewing on it. Spit webs? Yeah, you know, like spiders do. You get what I mean. They don't spit. Yeah, they poop out the webs, but you know, let's keep it classy. Me and my poop is my business. I'm just kidding. Webs is so funny. No, I think that would be very horrifying if I was to like just one day in the bathroom realize that it's all webs. Yeah. Imagine your biology teacher telling you wrong facts is wouldn't be classy. What I mean by, well, I was just talking about time and place of things. But again, this is a Twitch chat, so you know it is the place for random conversation. Back from the toilet, were there any webs? Sorry. Yeah, like literally 1 minute ago, we're talking about a me already Spider Man. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to poop webs. So yeah, you had to be there. Yeah, and then Orca was like, already pooping out webs would be so fun. I'm like, no, that'll be horrifying to go to the bathroom and then just one day realize like it's all webs. That'd be terrifying. And then you appear and like back from the toilet. And I was like, yeah, sorry. Spider-Man is cool. That honestly, I think he's a lot stronger than most people realize. Like he's fighting basically with one hand behind his back because he doesn't want to actually hurt people. Like if you see the movies and stuff, he catches like cars like no tomorrow. That thing is like 2 tons and he catches it in midair and it like gently puts it down. Do you realize how strong you have to be able to do that? The answer is very. And stopped a train too? Yeah, how many people do you know who have stopped a train with their bare hands? Yep, it was Spider-Man. Crap, which one was it? Like the OG trilogy. I can't remember if it was the first, second, or third one. I should give them a watch. I mean, I've saw plenty of trains, toy trains that is. Well, he didn't stop a toy train, so a watch along already. A movie night in the Discord. But I don't think so. Because I watch movies on my TV, not my computer. And yeah. You don't have like a movie night thing going on, but I suppose if people just pop into the chat and decide like, hey, we're all gonna be watching this movie, I mean, up to you guys. I feel like for the next month or two, I'm kind of swamped with commissions. So I haven't really, what's it called? I haven't really put a lot of effort into community events. So yeah, I'll one day look into it. I'm thinking of what's a fun game that like anyone can join, you know? I see I know Final Fantasy is one of them. I see streamers who played and then they have like their code available and they're like, hey, anyone who wants to just like join and follow us around is more than welcome. I know the streamer Floof does this. I thought it was pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know if there's because it can be a little bit disruptive for most games, but something like an MMO, like it's not disruptive at all, if that makes sense. So yeah, I was thinking about it. I mean, I have been playing Don't Starve for a while, and that's a multiplayer thing, but I'm like, and no, I'll keep that game to myself. Blackjack, community poker went. You know, I don't know how to play poker, which is troubling because there's a scene in the game Far Cry 3 where you need to play poker to like get information. And then another scene where you're playing poker with the bad guy, the big the evil boss. You're in disguise, by the way. And then he discovers who you are, shoots your friend, and then, points the gun at you. Is like, keep playing. And you're no longer betting with money, you're betting with your life. Yeah, if you lose, I think you lose like a finger. Now, imagine you're in this scene and you have no idea how poker works. Yeah, I played this when I was like kind of young, so just like little Ordy, like, struggling and crying. It's like I don't understand. Is this a good hand or a bad one? Anyway, all in. Love Far Cry 3 poker, but I don't understand it. Yeah, I mostly just bet randomly and shove my cards on the table, and that seems to work. Maybe I'll be good at like IRL poker because I don't understand what's going on. So I would have like the perfect poker face. Like no one can read me. Like naturally on a normal day, my face is very, very stoic, very neutral, right? I have resting bitch face. Now imagine that paired with what's it called? Paired with playing poker and everyone's just like trying to like read everyone else, seeing do they have good cards, bad cards. I would be like amazing at it. Like I don't know if I have good cards or bad cards, so my face will not tell you anything. I wish we could like as a streamer give out channel points like the order coin. Maybe then we could have played like a poker and what's it called? The money would be channel points because at least then it'll be something worthwhile. I love the game even to this day. It's just more. There is no new game plus. Do you know what there is? There's the game on the highest difficulty. Do you know what I do? I play it on the highest difficulty and I only use like a bow and arrow. I refuse to touch guns. The moment I am able to kill people without bullets, that's how I play the rest of the game. I rush the radio towers, unlock the bow, and then I embrace my Oliver Queen roleplay. Like full ninja mode, by the way, because, yeah, people shooting guns at you on the highest difficulty and you have a bow and arrow, you are not going to survive. So what I do is I shoot at them from cover, run and duck. So while they're scrambling and searching over, I flank them, shoot them from the back. They run back the other way. I'm hiding, jumping over obstacles, parkouring. Ooh, the wingsuit is my favorite thing about that game. Cause you don't even need to be super high. If you're just like on top of a hill, it helps you cross large distances very, very quickly. Like you'll just go like 50 to 100 meters just jumping off of a little rock. I don't know how to play poker, so let's play it anyway. Yeah, me neither. Well, one thing I do know how to play is D&D. That's why I want to host a community D&D. We already had a one shot. Um I still have to set things up, and as I mentioned, I am kind of busy. So, I will work on the thing. I'll keep you guys posted. And yeah. In blackjack tournament then, a game is easy AF. Mm, I think it's funny, like joking wise, but I don't know if I'll ever actually do it. Because I straight up don't understand the game. Like to the point where my only indicator of am I doing good or not is the fact that people give me money, like in Far Cry. So yeah. Love the game a lot though. Yeah. If you've never done that before, right? Try playing highest difficulty, bow and arrow. Yeah. Highest difficulty, bow and arrow, stealth. You gotta give yourself these challenges to just keep the game fresh and exciting, you know? Since I can explain in 5 minutes. True, there's knowing the rules and knowing how to play. Those are like two very different things. Like for example, the rules of chess can be explained as well in like 5 minutes, but just because you know which moves each of the things can make doesn't really mean you know how to play. I mean, you can play, just probably very badly. Is building a PC cheaper? I don't think so. Because, like, put it this way, a lot of stores, I don't know about most other countries, but especially in Malaysia, right? When you go to like the PC stores, they you can just buy the parts. You'd be like, okay, I want this GPU, I want this thing, I want this thing, I want that thing. And then you can just ask them to assemble it for you. I don't think they charge at all. If I remember correctly, like I was reading the receipt, I only got charged for the parts. I didn't get charged for anything else. Now, I think in a lot of other countries, maybe they'll add like a $50 to $100 charge on top of it to make sure it works. But in my opinion, that's worth it because if you've never built a PC before and you're only interested in playing the games, you're not interested in like the fun of building it, assembling it, then you kind of negate the risk of you breaking things because these things are very sensitive. That's the reason I wanted it pre-built, right? I literally just pick it up from the store. I am a very clumsy cat, right? I knew myself. I'm probably gonna break it, so I'm like, let me just have someone who knows what they're doing do it easily. So yeah. I did that 3 months back, then I'm gonna do it again in like a week or two. Ah, okay. Yeah, I am scared to touch anything to do with the what's it called? My PC. In fact, when I had to move, I had to open it up, just like pluck out the GPU, the CPU cooling fan, right? The RAM as well. And then just like shove the rest of it into my suitcase because, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen like a gaming computer on the inside. You'll notice the GPU is this very heavy thing attached by a very thin piece of like plastic to like the board. Now, On a plane, things are being thrown up and down. I don't know if you've seen how they treat luggage. Yeah, if that thing is tossed around, it'll definitely just snap off. So, yeah. So I prefer to build my own PCs because then I can fix and upgrade anything. I mean, you can if you have a pre-built one as well. Because pre-built just means like you buy the thing and someone assembles it for you. Unless it's like a very specific office computer, which only uses their own proprietary sizes and stuff, then yeah, upgrading is hard. But you can do what I did, which is buy pre-built, and if you want to upgrade it, then you just Google how to swap GPU and then follow the instructions. Yeah, but a pre-built, it means most of the people that buy them have no idea what any of the components do or how to assemble them. Yeah, and some people just don't need that information. Like if I did not move, if I did not take my computer and put it in an airplane, right? I would never have opened it and not cared about how to assemble things. Like I just have a computer, it works, it runs things. That's like the extent of my excitement. So yeah, some people really like getting into it and tinkering with these things. Uh I'm not like that when it comes to expensive technology because I break things. You don't clean your PC, yeah, it's not needed cleaning so far. Then you have to clean it like annually and actually, yeah, I've had it for about a year. I did clean the what's it called? The power supply. Because I realized my PC used to be on the floor, right? And what I hadn't realized is all of the cat hair gets sucked under the PC and into the thing. Now, when I saw it, it was completely clogged. And I was like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare to remove. Turns out there's like a filter on top of it that's magnetic. You just like pull it off and all the hair is on there. Just brush it and then slap it back on. Yeah. The inside is pretty clean though. I'm currently using has been like me the lit on fire half a year due to a storm and power outage. Oh, maybe your house was struck by lightning. I knew someone who they were watching TV and then lightning struck their house and then their TV just died. It does happen. Also, I forgot I was doing art today. You know, one of my friends recently discovered that I stream and they were just like binge watching all of my VODs. And then I randomly get a text that's like, hey, it's been an hour and you haven't been doing art. Is this normal? I had to explain to them that my record is 3 hours and a single line drawn. Lightning strikes the fire station, two houses next. The power goes out for 60 seconds on the whole street. Oh. A lot of these buildings typically have lightning protection, depending on the country. Like if it's a country where lightning is a big issue, say you're in Malaysia, which is, a rainforest, I can understand if the infrastructure is very resistant to lightning. Like for example, my home country, it rains like twice a year. So anytime there's like even a normal amount of rain, everything gets flooded and power goes out. You know what a strange thing here is? Every day on my computer, the bottom left, there's like the weather stuff. It's constantly telling me, oh, there's a thunderstorm warning, gotta be careful, lots of rain, blah, blah, blah. And then like the tiniest drizzle appears. And then for a while, I thought like it was, wrong or whatever. Then I realized their definition of heavy rain and mine are two very different things. Because like when I was in Malaysia, sometimes the rain would be so heavy that it's falling sideways. Rain is not going down; it's going left to right, right? And you know what they call that? They call that Tuesday. Like I've had to cycle in that before. It is not fun, but yeah. Perception really changes based on like what people are used to. Goldie, can I ask where you're from? You don't have to answer if you don't want to. Like, I'm just mildly curious. Because you mentioned Southeast Asia, but if you don't want to get more specific than that, it's all good. Just say so. Because I personally don't say where I'm from, but I know a lot of people are open about it. So I'm just curious if you are. Only time I've ever had a power outage during construction near me. Ah, okay. Yeah, from my experience, most of the outlets are just straight up wrong a lot of the time. Maybe like the electrician didn't set them up correctly. That was the case in my apartment in Malaysia, right? The first one when I was a student. They, those switches where you can turn them on and off from like two different switches, right? Yeah, only one switch would work until one day I just like unscrewed the thing and I realized, okay, there's a slot where there's two wires that connects those two switches, and I'm not sure what was going through the head of whoever like put it, but there's like two slots for two wires. What they did was they wrapped the wires together and just like shoved it into one of the sockets. And yeah, weather outlets. Oh, okay, okay. I thought we were talking about like sockets. But yeah, here I realized they weren't wrong. I thought they were until I saw like a notification. It's like a thunderstorm in progress. I looked at my window. It's just what I would consider normal rain. Eating apple like an old man with a knife instead of biting. The only reason I bite it is because I don't wanna wash a knife afterwards. I'm a bit lazy. If I can avoid unnecessary dishes, I do so. At least in me, rain is strong enough to flood the parking lot a few times a month during summer. Ah. Yeah, here rain is not very heavy, at least not that I've seen. Also, weather is very weird here, right? Today, what's it called? I wanted to go shopping. So I look outside, it's cloudy weather. I'm like, it's cloudy but not raining. And I thought, okay, perfect. So I get ready to go out, and then it starts raining. And I'm like, okay, that's unfortunate. Maybe I'll just have lunch inside and then later go out, like maybe in the evening. I go downstairs to fill my water bottle. By the time it takes me to go from my room downstairs, already the rain has stopped. And I'm like, oh, okay. I go back upstairs, get ready again. I change back into my pajamas. By the time I'm done and about to leave again, it started raining once more. And then that continued, it like on and off, like every 5 minutes. Yeah, it started raining on and off like every 5 minutes. I was like, oh, this is This is odd because I'm used to Malaysia where my home country, it just doesn't rain at all. And if it does, it's for like 1 hour and then it's cloudy the rest of the day. In Malaysia, it's just it starts raining and then maybe after 1 or 2 hours, it completely stops. About a damn island, what do you expect? I don't know what to expect. This is my first time living here. And if you must know, my home country is also technically an island and we don't have rain, so I don't know what to expect. Is it's a very different environment because both my home country and like Malaysia are like tropical countries. So growing up for most of my life, that is the weather that I knew and understood. Like I cannot comprehend winter. When I think winter, I just think cold air conditioned room, but outside. Now I know that is not true, and I know it's terrible, but emotionally I cannot picture it. And they're like, oh, it gets very cold in the winter and very dark. There's no sun. I'm like, oh yeah, I like the clouds and I hate the heat. That sounds amazing. But I'm pretty sure I'm in for a surprise the moment my first winter comes around and I'm freezing to death. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll let you know of my culture shock. Pretty sure most of the rain comes from across the UK first. Yeah, I mean, UK is on the ocean. Rain comes from the ocean. I love the rain. Oh yeah, me too. Like when I was walking out today, it stopped raining, but then it started drizzling very slightly. I had an umbrella, but I just kept it off because I just like the rain, you know? I don't like if it's pouring and I get wet, but if it's a very light drizzle, oh, I love it. It's very refreshing. The only downside here, right? If you're in like Southeast Asia and it like drizzles, the water is just like room temperature, right? Maybe a little bit cool. Here, you get wet and then there's like icy wind. So it feels super, super, super cold. I learned that the hard way. Not today, because it wasn't that cold. But when I first got here, I was like, oh, this is very nice cold weather. And then it started drizzling, and I felt like I dropped, my body temperature dropped by like 10 degrees, you know? Cut up the apple, I could be cut up in the street. Let us hope not. Yeah. You know, ever since I moved here, I start seeing British memes and reels and stuff on Instagram. And some of them are like my daily life in the UK. It's like one of those like very vlog style inspirational stuff, but it's just a person getting robbed and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. So yeah, it could be a stereotype. It could just be like people making a meme, very satire, you know. But I'm worried it's not. So, by the way, I've ever since I got here, I've not been to London. I'm thinking about it, but I'm like, well, where would I even go? I do have a friend who they're gonna be moving to the UK as well, and they're like, oh, when I come visit, let's meet up in London. We can like go hang out and stuff. So which is nice, you know. I haven't seen this friend in a few years, so that's always good. Send a pic on Discord. Oh, okay. It It's just the core. Yeah, you know, I've only ever seen people begin to eat an apple with a knife. You know, just like the first slice. I've never seen how they finish it. So yeah. And to read books on the porch when it rains heavily. Oh. It looks squared. Yeah, it looks like a. It looks like a normal apple that was eaten. You know, just the core that's left, except it's like low poly and very blocky. Thank you for the headpads. I like to punch my wall when it rains because it's a pain to carry equipment through it. Understandable. It's a funny thing. I lost 6 kilos since I started my diet on Monday. What day is this? That's a week. I don't think that's very. You know what? Let's Google this. Because there's like a healthy rate of weight loss. Hold on. Max kg to lose in a week. Okay. 1 kg per week is generally safe. You're like 6 times that limit, so be a little bit cautious. I would tone down the extremeness a little bit unless your doctor has told you so. Because sometimes it can lead to other problems. So be very careful. It is very impressive. Congrats on the journey. But, think of it like it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So yeah, be a bit cautious. I know it's tempting to just like try a speed run diet, but so long as it's safe, do the right thing. And I feel far better. It's not about what you feel, it's more of what your body is going through. Because does have some negative effects. So do be cautious. Now, I'm no doctor, I'm no nutritionist. So you might want to read more into it. But based on what I've heard, there's like a safe rate of losing weight. Anymore, and your body is basically in starvation mode, which comes with like its own issues. So do be cautious. But if you talk to your doctor and they're like or your nutritionist and they say it's all good, then perfect. Don't trust medical advice from a random cat on the internet. So all I'm saying is do look into it. Diet from nutritionist. Okay. If your nutritionist has said that this is okay and it's fine, then you're all good. Because I just remember reading somewhere a long time ago about like the different rates of weight loss. So when you mentioned that and that was like a really, really high number, I was like, this brings up memories. So yeah. If your nutritionist says that's good, then you're all okay. Do let them know like it's been 6 kg in a week. So yeah. Depressed after I feel depressed after alcohol or really happy 50-50. Yeah, some people are just like I have one friend who she's both, right? Whenever she's drunk, she's like giggling and then she starts talking about something and then gets all sad and starts crying. And then 5 minutes later, she's back to laughing again. It's just like a roller coaster of emotion. We have we have ads. But we're being productive today, so I'll just keep working through them. I don't think talking about substances and alcohol is allowed in Twitch's TOS, so we can put that aside for now. I think alcohol is okay if it's in a improper context, but other substances, I don't think so. You don't have snitches, do we? Doesn't matter. We follow TOS, whether people report it or not. Rather pay for my model than drink alcohol? Exactly. There's so many things that cost money, you know? Could spend it on that. Aye, Captain Ordy, thank you. I was considering getting a third monitor. And I was looking at I was passing by like this store that sells like secondhand stuff. And they had I saw online they had some, but I didn't see it in the store. And I wanted to go ask and I paused. I'm like, no, I don't need one. I'm good. Food, exactly. I think this basically what's it called? I don't really spend money on stuff that's like not essential. Things like food, groceries, etc. Yeah, that's it. A lot of my hobbies are just, free. If you waste all your disposable income on food, I'm concerned for you. Look, any money spent on food is not a waste. So free, in fact, it takes time more than anything. Exactly. Because most hobbies take time and money. A lot of mine just take time. Food is great, even though a chunky is great. Yeah, food is nice. I want to order more food. But here it's kind of expensive, so I need to relax with that. On Earth? Wait a minute. Hold on. I think something's wrong with the model. Oh, I didn't erase it properly. Hmm. Well, that's a simple fix. Hold on. But how did you end up buying 4 burgers? I was walking down the street, and then on the window, there's like we have an offer, buy 4 burgers for this discounted price. And I'm like, that's a steal. And I bought it. I'm skinny, but eat a lot of food. I was like that when I was younger. Like, I would inhale a large pizza and not even be full. Kind of person that eats what I need, and that's it. Couldn't care less about it. I feel like I'm like that most days, and then just randomly, I'm like, I want to eat this one specific thing. Cecilia is definitely worth it. Yeah. Or a seafood diet, I seafood, I eat it. That's one of the jokes my dad would make. They just make food that's nutritious, and that's all I need. Yeah, most days I'm like that as well. But sometimes I'm like, I see this thing, and then I'm like, I get tempted. I'm like, that looks good. Let me try it. Okay, we need to fix the skin here. Yeah, I forgot to raise this part. It's supposed to only be above the lip. Whoops. Cook is actually quite easy. Well, okay, here's the thing. There is being a cook and there's being a chef. Being a chef is hard because you need to understand all of the ingredients and how they come together and how to create new recipes. Being a cook is just following instructions. Like, add this thing here, cook for this long, put in that thing. That's it. That's being a cook. You know, I'm a good cook. I can follow instructions. I'm not a good chef because I can create my own recipes. Unless it's something simple like the potatoes I made the other day and put on the Discord, like the little food channel. Those ones is just put potatoes here, handful of spices, just shove them in a bowl and mix, and it seemed to work out. If I had it my way, I'm not losing weight anytime soon. Understandable. For me, it's the opposite. When I'm at home, my mom has the habit of overfeeding everyone. I feel like a weight loss was impossible in my household. My brothers were all kind of chubby. I was the only skinny one growing up. But that's just because I would eat the same amount, but I think I had a much higher metabolism. Okay, this thing is done. Yeah, you just need to follow the recipe of someone who knows how to cook, and you're good. There, problem solved. It's enough to eat whatever is good. Yeah, most days I'm kind of lazy. I eat what stops me from feeling hungry. Something that's filling and not bad. That's like my criteria. I'm not I'm not picky in the sense that oh every meal has to be like an experience, you know. I'm just like, hey, this thing is okay and it's filling. So yeah. Like sometimes if I'm lazy, I just go pour cereal in a bowl, put milk and I call it a meal. Especially if I'm like in the middle of working and then I start feeling hungry. I'm like, okay, I need to eat something so being hungry doesn't distract me. So yeah, that's the strat. That's the way to go. I want to be a workaholic. I mean, I think what you mean is like productive. Yeah, workaholic is those ones who are not working feel bad. Like that one is too productive. Like it's a problem where when they're not productive, it's almost like an itch they need to scratch, right? Usually what happens is people want to be more productive and then they go overboard and then become a bit of a workaholic and then they start dialing it back to like healthy levels. So that's usually the way to go. That's like how you'd find what your limits are. And yeah, honestly, go for it. If you're interested in something, for example, you have like a field you're interested in, learn more about it, try get relevant experience, you know, build that corporate portfolio. Or if it's hobbies you want to be more productive in, you know, maybe it's streaming, maybe it's art, maybe it's anything, right? Just give yourself a schedule like okay, from today 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I'm going to only be doing this thing, and then eventually you'll get the hang of it. I'm too lazy to do anything, honestly. Truth be told, when I'm not doing stuff, I'm like, oh, I feel lazy. I don't want to do it. And then I start doing other things. I get bored. And then I just go back to doing work. By the way, I call it work, but it's things like making models. It's things like streaming, etc. You know. So even if it is technically work and I'm doing stuff, it's pretty fun. You know, it's not boring and tedious. You know, there's another place last week couldn't access any of my work. Got super depressed. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I know the feeling. Like I'm okay if I have things to do, but like too long away from it. Like for example, if I wake up and like I have a headache and I don't want to take medicine for it, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take it the day. I'm gonna take it easy today. I'm just gonna sit back, watch movies, eat nice food. You know, then I think like usually about halfway, I'm like, this is boring. I wish I could do work, but I can't do work because my head's killing me. Yeah, I know that feeling. But if it's like, oh, I'm going out and I'm doing something fun, maybe I'm going sightseeing, maybe I'm, you know, I'm meeting up with people, etc. Then yeah, then it's fine. I don't think about the work because I'm thinking about, you know, what I'm doing. They also mean editing, music, all that jazz. Understandable. So like I'm grinding side jobs. Oh yeah. I mean, technically, doing art is kind of what I'd call a in quotes side job. I mean, it pays my bills. It pays my bills for sure. But I think once I settle in a bit more, I'll look for more corpo stuff. Ow. What was that for? I actually put a little bit of a hold on applying for stuff, mostly because I want to finish the couple of full body model commissions that I have, because those ones require like a lot more time. So yeah, once I get over that hurdle, yeah, I should I'll try diving deeper. What's it called? Sorry, not diving deeper, diving back into the corporate world. But it's tough, you know. I think I'm fortunate that I have this going for me. I imagine not everyone has something. What about corporate world do you like? Money. The last interview I went to, they're like, why are you excited to work with us? And I actually had no idea what they were doing. I work on Nordic Clips. I work on my original song portfolio, getting commission stuff next month, and working with indie game studios. So that's quite a bit, including drawing as a bit as a hobby. Yeah, very full day. But Sadler is right. The good thing about corporate world is stable income. Like for example, when it comes to art commissions and stuff, sometimes you're up, even streaming, like if you're a full time Twitch streamer, sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. When you're up, it's all good. When you're down, it can be a little bit stressful. So I'm fortunate enough to like not be down. Yeah. Because even if I am, I do have like my savings as well to like make up for any month that maybe I don't do too well. But I'm fortunate enough to, have things going well for me. So that's all good. I live a very frugal life. So, yeah. It's not like my expenses are low enough to the point where even if I'm working as an artist, like I live comfortably. So I just realized the chat box is blocking the little mascots down here. So let me put that up. So we're just trying to work out as much as possible to get stuff out of the list. Understandable. My to-do list on the Discord, I don't remember the last time I opened it. I need a separate to-do list for myself and why it doesn't look very full. A lot of the points take multiple days to finish. Oh yeah. For example, the dice, the rolling feature, this one. Hold on. I want to show off again. Where's roll dice? This feature where you can roll the dice, right? This one was just one item that says make dice rollable. And that took from the desire to make it rollable to the day it has actually like finished took about several months. So yeah, not all items are listed the same. You know, there's quality and quantity. Or he tooting his own horn again? Yeah, who's gonna toot it for me? Hmm? 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 That's what I thought. Gotta learn to toot your own horn. Ooh, especially in the corpo world. Uh, the code switch between me as an artist, you know, very chill, very relaxed, humble cat, right? But when I go to the corpo world, literally every step I take is I portray it as deserving of praise, you know? Like for example, I'll do like the most basic thing and it'll be portrayed as if I have just cured cancer. I mean from writing down to finish. No, I meant from starting the work to it being finished was several months. Cause it's just experimentation. It's just trying to figure out like oh, what about this thing? Does this work? No. Try something else. Does this work? No. And then that for several months, a little bit here, a little bit there. Then towards the end, I had like an idea, and then that experiment led to a few more ideas, and then eventually I got it. You know, I'm thinking after doing art, maybe we can try the Colonel Sanders game again. We didn't finish that one last time. So yeah. I do have a couple other games that I have in reserve should the need arise. You know, if I you know, if I want to play games after or even just like not do art that day. I do like getting recommendations. It helps narrow down my search because what's it called? Without that, I literally just go to Steam and then look at random games. I have the filter for like what's it called? Games under $15. Or sometimes if I feel like splurging, I click the games on the $30 tab. Warframe is a little too grindy for me. I looked at Deltarune. I don't know if the gameplay is something that is interesting on stream, if that makes sense. Because it seems very quiet, for lack of a better term. That is the impression I got just by looking at the gameplay ads. It's still on my wish list, so I'm like, maybe. You can try it out. True. I got buckshot roulette yesterday. It was fun. Ah. Oh, sorry. I was thinking Liar's Bar. Are they this? No, they're not the same. You know what? Let me Google it. Buckshot roulette. Oh, okay, okay. I see it now. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking of Liar's Bar, which I think is a very similar one. It's kind of like that. Yeah. You know, we're making a lot of progress with this one. Buckshot Roulette is the first ever to be the trailblazer for games like Liar's Bar. Ah, okay, okay. So that one came out first. Understandable. Kind of like how Lethal was one of I think it's one of the first games that made like friend slop games kind of popular. There were probably others. I just don't know what they are. Description is very well done. Description. Let me Google this. Apparently, that's a very dangerous thing to do, to just like Google random things people say in chat. But I think you guys are well mannered and, you know, decent. It's a roguelike deck building game. I struggle to understand card games. I think it's what made Buckshot Roulette so strong as Inscription. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, deck building games are not something I'm very good at. Watch me struggle and everyone in chat will just cry. It's really unique for what it is. I can imagine so. Hmm. Okay, we're done with the eyes and mouth. So let us. Actually, no, not yet. Okay, there we are. Mm. I'm on a bit of a roll lately. We've been very productive when it comes to doing art on stream. Goodness, those dots. Yeah, you can just ignore the dots. I assume you mean like the art mesh. It's a tendency to just tear it off. Wait, what are we talking about? Because I thought you meant the dots of, these dots. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. So I assume correctly. These ones basically are. Let me show you an example. So, like, if we want to deform the torso, we can do this, and you'll realize, like, so we can do this, and you realize it kind of deforms together. But the more dots you have, the less blocky it is. All right. You'll see this one's a little bit blocky because it's, not too many dots. But what happens if you... Hold on, let me show an example. So what happens if we only have 4 dots, right? It's basically like a flat image, you know? You deform it like this. So what if we make more dots? You can deform it a little bit more, but it's still mostly flat-ish, right? Now, what if we give it even more? Wait, hold on. Now, what if we give it even more? Suddenly, it becomes a little smoother to deform, right? You just keep doing that until it deforms, what's it called? As much as you're comfortable with, until it's like smooth. And then, yeah. Just the more dots you have, the more resources it takes. So it's one thing to consider. Something phobia. I think trypophobia is like the fear of many holes. Like looking at something like, I think it's something like a beehive or etc. Right? It's not a fear. Just want to tear it off. Yeah, it might not be trypophobia. Trypophobia actually isn't. Despite the name, I heard it's more of a disgust rather than a fear, right? Like for example, thalassophobia, I think is how it's pronounced, is like you're afraid of the ocean. And when you're inside, you have feelings of like anxiety and fear, like of the deep ocean, right? But something like trypophobia is you see like lots of holes and stuff, and you feel disgust rather than fear. If I remember that one short I saw a long time ago correctly, I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. Okay, we're done with the eyes, we're done with the mouth. We can now make it look left and right. You know, I have a strong feeling we can finish this today. If not completely, at least most of it, which is nice. Oh, hi, Wally. Okay, sorry if I lock in a little bit. Just trying to make his head move smoothly. I'm not sure how or why, but the discussion in the chat has turned to holes. I didn't think they were that deep of a topic. Ow. Ooh, wait. It's not supposed to be here. It's not a skill issue. Okay, if I have done this correctly... Oh, oops. I messed up. Hi, Vani. Welcome, welcome. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat. The conversation turned to about holes and then desires, and I was like, okay. But hi, how have you been? How's your vacation going? I don't know if that started yet. Me neither. I was looking a bit, so I'm confused. Anyways, I'm good, and no, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. Ah, okay. Have fun on your trip. Sounds exciting. Yeah, my chat is a bit of a wild west. I have no idea what goes on there sometimes. I mean, earlier they were talking about drugs and alcohol, so I was like, oh, okay, guys, let's tone it down. I don't know how I don't know what Twitch thinks about those, so let us not. I think today's been a bit of a quiet, chill day. Very productive doing the art. There's something I can't unsee, and I think this model looks very phallic shaped, and nothing I could do could ever change that. It was based on the little slug cats, so yeah, and that's how their design is. I think I'm the only one who sees it. He looks like, yeah, exact. Yeah, that's what phallic means. Now, I tried changing it, but every time I did change it, it would stop looking like the reference I was given. So I'm like, maybe that's what they want. So I'll rig it here and then send it to them, be like, hey, this is what it looks like so far. And this is what it looks like so far. And if they want any changes, I can do that. I only realized this about tours. Ow. Hi, Melta. I only realized it's kind of shaped like genitalia after I finished the art. And when I tried adjusting it, it either made it worse or it stopped it looking like the reference it was supposed to be based off of. So yeah, anyway, I cannot read minds, so maybe that's what they were going for. I'll have to see. Well, that's my style of doing commissions. I I make the model first. It's kind of like a first draft, and then I'm like, hey, is this good? It does it need changes? So yeah, after it's finished rigging, I'll send it over, and yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. Hi, where were we? Ooh, we forgot the ears. Okay, we want to make these jiggly because jiggle is good. Okay, name, ear, physics, input preset, mascot jiggle, mascot ear wiggle. Mm, yeah, we are. Anyways, gotta go again. Sadly, gotta charge my headphones for tomorrow. Well, thanks for stopping by. Bye bye. Have a nice trip. Stay safe, and see you when you get back. Okay, back to the penis monster. I don't know what else to call it. I was even given a name, I think. Okay, bye bye. Bye. Okay, it looks a bit stiff, but once we make the rest of the head jiggle, it should be good. Okay, let's get ear number 2. Or do you call it Mr. Fluffy P? Well, it's not my mascot, so I just bring it to life and then they call it whatever they want. I do have a section like in the forum to fill up commissions where it asks about like, oh, just like their name, lore, personality, if there's like anything, you know? Just give me a description of what you want it to be like. Sometimes people have like a name for it, but maybe they're like a community like us where they have the design, but they don't really have a name for it, you know? So in those cases, they just leave that blank. Mm. But I do know sometimes they do have a name. Like I always stalk like the community. For example, if I get like a commission and I want to know a little bit more about like the design, I always see like I check out their Twitter or whatever social media, and I check if they have like a fan art tag because sometimes they have like a lot of fan art of the mascots if it's a very established thing. acolytes were the order cult and we're acolytes. Those are more of like a placeholder thing. I feel like one day, if we have enough people and we can put it to a vote, we'll have a name brainstorming session. For now, I think we're like a little bit too small for that. Anymore, not after half a year use. Yeah, but I can just change it whenever. Call it official decree. Brick throwers? No. You're free to pitch ideas. If I like it, I might stick with it. Though that kind of name, don't know. Okay, don't take the lore too seriously. I just hope that my modeling rig can wait a bit longer, which is another 4 months. Wait for what? Like a little bit more time for you to like start the commission? Because, I guess they're not losing anything by waiting. Because I would assume that they're working on other stuff in the meantime. I will answer my duty. Okay, so long as you don't go crazy about it. Keep it chill, keep it relaxed. And it's unofficial lore, you know? Yeah, I'd never let it just go down the drain. If I ever make real lore, like, something that is official and canon or whatever, I will still use the one you've made. Either subtle nods or whatever. So yeah. That's why I say don't go too crazy about it. Cause like what if one day I decide I wanna rebrand into something, or I decided I want to add lore for my little cat in a teacup, right? Why am I so small? Why am I in a teacup? That kind of stuff. So yeah. Do keep that in mind. Like for example, if I go for like cult lore and what's it called? I'm like, oh, I'm just like a cat in a teacup, and then some people think I'm some kind of eldritch whatever. And then any lore that you write, I'll just be reading it like, oh, this is news to me. This is just what they think is going on, right? Very Life of Brian style. He's crying to them, I'm not the Messiah. And then they're like, he is the Messiah. And they start celebrating. He's just sobbing in a little hole in the ground. Already explain. To more clarity with my character, I was gonna do a new reference sheet so she can model and rig it like how it is. Ah, okay. So asking like 100 times over. Yeah, a good reference sheet is always very helpful. Like I always say like it's not necessary when commissioning me, but it does make my job like a lot easier. Like for example, having a design that's ready made, even if it's like a rough doodle, it's fine. This one is a little bit different in the sense that it's like, hey, I like this thing and I like that thing. I want them mashed together. So I have to give my interpretation of what I think mashed together looks like. And so far it's this one. And yeah. Sometimes they have to ask like 100 times back and forth to get it just right. Most of the times, they're like, oh, this is great, but I want like a couple things changed here and there. And then I change here and there. And then they're like, it's perfect. Thumbs up, commission complete. They have to be perfect. I guess that's to be understandable. Although, when working with artists and stuff, I would recommend not being a bit too nitpicky. Because, like, the more they change, the more time they spend on it. And, like, at the end of the day, what you're purchasing from them is their time. So yeah, being clear and concise is like very helpful, which is good because you mentioned you're waiting for like your new reference sheet and you're like, oh, so it can be trust, right? Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Rather than kind of jumping the gun and being like, hey, I need this now, but here's only half the information. Being nitpicky is just saying it's gonna be annoyingly bad. Yeah, nitpicky meaning like ooh, I like this thing, but I wish this ear was like 2 inches to the side, you know? There are some people like that. Write a paragraph instead of a sentence every time they show whips. Oh yeah, and sometimes what they'll do is they'll say, "Oh, I want this one change," and then when I send the next draft, they're like, "Oh, there's actually this other change that I wanted, right? But it's something they didn't say before, right?" So I like people having like a clear idea of what they want rather than us in quotes building it together as we go along. Because then that takes like a lot of time, and that's time I could have spent on like, other commissions. I'm fortunate enough to not really have that problem, but I think I did have like one or two people like that. But it wasn't too bad. It's just one of those things like this could have been told all at once, and then I can do it all at once. And then instead of having like five different works in progress, we'll just have like one. So yeah, it's just a matter of efficiency. I'm just hardwired to be quick and efficient with like everything, not just like art and stuff. So yeah, that like nags at my brain a little bit. But I do understand it's a little bit of a me thing. I don't think they did anything wrong per se. But yeah, this is just like me and my preferences. Which is why, as I mentioned before, I have a system where I make the first draft and then they tell me what they want. So when they see something like this, they're like, okay, I like this, but I want these three things changed. I change those three things. Okay, done. Is it good? Perfect. Model is complete. Thank you for commissioning me. So like, that's what I mean. So far, never really had difficult clients. Sometimes things could have gone a bit better, or maybe sometimes people they make the commission, the payment is done and stuff, and then they're like, oh, I'd like to make like these changes, and then they start adding like a bunch of stuff that would have cost them more. So yeah, I was like, but it's only like a handful of times that's happened. which is why it's why I raised my prices to account for, because I noticed that it was becoming more and more and more common. Because people would see like the more expensive mascots that I made, and they would see like this price and be like, "Oh, this one is very advanced and like intricate and has 12 toggles, so they must have paid like the starting price," which is not the case. So yeah, just to like avoid having that conversation, I up the prices. All the points. Oh, that reminds me of an indie game I'm working on. All the points I got were metal music for this cute game. Made like 14 drafts of the music till finally one got taken. It's about 28 minutes of music. That's an album. Ah, yeah. People who are nitpicky like that can be a little bit difficult to work with. But it's like a range, right? There's it's okay to give feedback and like hey, I love this, but can we change like one or two things, right? I'm always happy to do so. In fact, I don't even mark the commission as complete. Like, one, I even send them the model files, right? I send the model files, I send the showcase video, I give them everything. I'm like, hey, this is how it is now. Let me know what you think, right? And then if they like it, they're like, yeah, it's perfect, I'll take it. Only then I mark the commission as complete. Now, very important, you only do this if you've been paid, right? I take my default is I take 100% upfront unless someone asks specifically, hey, can I pay half now, half later? That's all good, right? I don't mind either, but 9 out of 10 times it is 100% upfront. So even if I send them the files, it's not like they can just yoink it and run away because they've already paid me. So yeah, I do give them the model and I'm like, hey, take this for a test drive. Let me know what you think. And usually they get back to me in a few hours or even a few days, depending on how busy they are. And then yeah, most of the time they're like all good, no complaints, and perfect. It's the most efficient method because before I would be like, oh, I did the art. Is this good? And then I'd get their feedback and then proceed. Oh, I did this. Is that good? Then wait for their feedback. Yeah, it was kind of slow. So I just do what I think is closest to what they asked for. And then if they want changes, I make those changes. That is only for those that don't have like a proper reference sheet. True, but putting things in bullet points is just faster. Yeah, okay. If someone gives me all their bullet points at once, I don't mind. But if someone gives me like 3 bullet points now, I do those changes. And then afterwards, like, okay, here's 4 more bullet points that I could have given before, but I didn't think about them until just now. Mm, I'm not too fond of. It's not too bad. It's just, I would rather not. Okay, I shall save my points. And then you immediately spend them petting me. Well, thanks for the head pats. Understandable. Anyway, I'm not like complaining like, oh, this is terrible. I'm just talking about like the experiences of like what it's like working with people. Ooh, and lately I've been getting a lot of my Instagram algorithm is a lot of corpo stuff. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I mentioned it on Twitch and they're like spying on us. I spoke a little too loudly around my phone, all that good stuff. But I get a lot of corpo content, and some of them are like red flags at a company, and then they basically describe my last workplace, and I find that hilarious. Spyware? No, no, I don't think so. Because put it this way, people are like, "Oh, I was talking about this thing, and now randomly I get ads," as if the thought just magically manifested in their head. Like for example, I'm like, "Oh, I'm randomly getting corpo TikToks and stuff on my algorithm. Why? It's logged in with my human disguise email. With that email, I've been applying to places like LinkedIn. So they're like, oh, this is someone who is interested in job. Let us show him content with job. And then they start showing me stuff. And then someone who doesn't know the connection between those two things would be like, hey, they're just randomly knowing these things. Are they reading my mind? Are they spying on me? Gasp. This is just like the movies. Yeah, that's not how it works. They get their information from somewhere. It's usually in the form of like basically what you search on Google and stuff like that. Because to be fair, that is just a more cost-effective way of spying on you. You job, I'd rather gamble. Well, you need job to fund gambling addiction. Money doesn't grow on trees. What am I even saying? Go get a job so you can gamble as much as you like. Please don't actually do that. Let's take a loan from a bank. Banks don't just give you loans. They look at you, they look at your income, they look at your credit history, and then they decide, is this person trustworthy enough to give him a loan? Like, what are the chances he'll pay us back? Ooh, and if you live in a, for example, if you're in your home country and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna live here, you don't have any intention of like moving or stuff, you might consider building credit, getting a credit card, you know, paying for stuff with it, and then immediately paying those loans off so you don't get like credit card debt, right? Build a credit history so that 30-ish years from now, depending on how old you are, I assume most people here. Okay, there are some people who are like on the younger side, like early 20s ish, something like that. So yeah, those people, like 30 years or so, when you finally want to buy a house, want to get a mortgage, you have like 30 years of like clean credit history, and then you're not only more likely to get approved for it, you're also more likely to get better rates. So yeah, honestly, that's one of the first things I asked when I made my bank account here is what they recommend I do in order to build good credit with the bank. Well, you want to wait for them to report the debt to the credit bureau so it looks like you're carrying a balance. Ah. I meant like how do you say this? Like when the month comes, you make the payments. You don't like miss them and get slapped with interest charges because you didn't pay it on time. I think like that's how it works. But if not like you spend your credit and then literally 5 hours later you're paying it off. I didn't even know you could do that. I thought you could only pay it off like once a month. But yeah, I have no experience with these things. It sounds like you have more. So I'm gonna take your word for it. Besides, it's different in different countries as well. So each person should like check what's it called? Check with your local country's laws. Check with your local bank, the one that you have an account with. You can just walk up and like straight up ask them, right? Or you could email them if you want. So make sure to check the terms, as some companies calculate interest on a 21-day cycle. Yeah, that's really good advice. I did not know that. See, I have very scattered knowledge of things. So I know that building credit is important, but I may not have the experience actually building it, right? So before I do these things, I'm vaguely aware, like, oh, this is how it kind of works. And then using that knowledge, I go and find out what I need to do. So, yeah. But you can pay it off at like any time, right? If you know. Yep, pay mine twice a month. Okay, okay. I feel like this is usually what I like to do. If I have multiple utility bills, rent, etc. like that, I have one day a month where I just pay all of it at once so I just don't forget. Although if it is a bank that has a 21-day cycle, yeah, I can imagine needing to do that maybe twice a month. The credit is kind of not worth it because you can just save up, build a home. No, I think that's bad advice. Credit is the kind of thing which you should build and work to maintain and hope you never need, right? If that makes sense. Because like some people may not be able to save up. Like for example, say you're starting out your life, early 20s, first job, you're paying rent, blah blah blah, and you decide I am gonna live here in this one town or this city for the rest of my life. Now I'm paying like $1,000 of rent a month. If I can save up enough for a deposit, I can get a loan, a mortgage, right? And then I can start paying say $700 a month for the mortgage for the loan instead of paying $1,000 for rent. And at the end of that thing, at the end of the mortgage, you actually own the house, you know? So sometimes it is cheaper to do that. So no matter the advice I gave, don't listen to me. No one really. Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're just inexperienced, which is okay because I'm inexperienced. I can only tell you the experience I have, and when it's about things that I know I don't have experience, I always point out like, hey, this is what I've heard, and this is what everyone seems to be doing. When I bought my house, rent was about 1,500 USD. My mortgage was only about 1,400. Yeah, it's cheaper, even if it is the same cost. At the end of the day, it becomes your house. Whereas rent at the end, okay, like if you pay, say you're paying it off over the course of 10 years, at the end of those 10 years, you own the house. And if you're paying rent at the end of 10 years, you owe nothing. But these are very, very large financial decisions that probably need a lot of research before you dive into them. So, yeah, do that instead of trusting the word of random purple cat in a teacup. Well, I know nothing about buying houses or renting. I know the basics, and I know enough to know that if I need information, I should search it rather than. Are you guys familiar with the Dunning-Kruger effect? You know what? This is my favorite graph of all time. because it is a graph of human stupidity. Like, if you wonder why people are dumb, this this graph explains everything. Okay, this one is even labeled. Perfect. Let me pull this up. This is my favorite graph of all time. You know what? Let me get these guys out the way. Ooh, also I forgot to move this one up. Hold on. Yeah, this is the Dunning-Kruger effect. So we have, right, confidence in a topic, right? This is how confident you feel. Like, if someone asks, do you know a lot about these things? This is how confidently you will answer. And this is how much knowledge you actually have. Oh, sorry, my mouse was invisible. So yeah, you'll notice the people who don't have a lot of knowledge, they have a little bit, right? Someone who knows zero, obviously unconfident, but someone who knows just a little bit about a topic, they're like, oh, I know a thing or two about this thing. So they assume that they know a lot, which is called it's called the peak. I've seen other graphs call it the peak of stupidity. So yeah, that's why you'll see people who know very little about a topic, or maybe they Google stuff like for 5 minutes and suddenly they're experts. This is the whole Karens with Google talking about vaccines. They did 5 minutes of Google research here, right? So now they feel like they know everything. Now, sometimes you're like, oh, you're very confident and you learn a little bit more. Maybe you started, this is very true when I started university. Because I started with like, how hard could it be? And then I realized just how hard it was. So once you know a little bit more, you're like, oh, this is actually a lot deeper than I thought, right? So your confidence goes down. And as you get more and more and more knowledgeable, you're like, okay, I know just how deep this hole goes, and I've covered most of it. So you can answer like with some certainty. So yeah, if I think I know something, I always ask myself, am I actually an expert? Am I actually an expert? Or am I here? And if I'm not studied in something or don't have like many years of experience in it, I always assume I am here. So, yeah. For example, I know the very basics of how credit works, mortgages, etc. So, instead of being like, oh yeah, this thing is easy, it's great, do this, that's how you need to do stuff, right? I would never do that because I'm like, this is deeper than I may realize. So I always try to put myself here. I'm like, okay, I know that I know a little bit about this topic, but I also know that there is a lot that I don't know, right? The reason people are here is they know so little about a topic that they don't realize how little they know. They think they know everything because they know 10 things and don't realize the topic is actually like 1,000 things deep. So, yeah. Does that make sense? Have I explained why you go out in the street and people seem like complete morons? I feel like the graph should be steadily upward. It is steadily upwards. It's steadily upwards once you realize this is when you do 5 minutes of Google searching. This is when you start to actually do proper research and learn about the topic properly. Or suffer with the drawing while yapping. I could do that with rigging. Because rigging is very tough and I need full concentration. This is me talking while drawing lines like this. So yeah, this is you starting the topic, thinking, okay, I know everything. This is you realizing, oh, I don't know everything. And this is you going, yeah, I kind of know a thing or two about this. So yeah, my favorite graph of all time. Whenever you see someone very confidently talking about things, it's usually this. And I used to be here, right, with a lot of stuff. So as I get older, I realize the world is a bigger place and things are not as simple as you may think. And most of the time, it looks simple on paper, but is very complex. So, yeah, I hope you've learned a thing or two. Again, Dunning-Kruger effect, my favorite graph of all time. It explains the world and a lot of societal, what's it called? Societal behavior in a nutshell. Which is why you'll always see very talented artists, writers, musicians, etc. Right? Uh, they're like, oh, I'm not so good. I'm this. I'm that. I'm just an amateur. They're usually here. But people who do like people who are not artists, musicians, and stuff, they'd be like, "Oh, music is so easy. Art is so easy. You should be paid half of your asking price because it's not a lot of work." They usually hear. Isn't the favorite graph supposed to be of him? You mean Sanderson? That's not a graph. That's more of a mind map. You know, like this should be a small already at the bottom left. Hey, I may know nothing, but I'm very confident about it. Speaking of Brandon Sanderson, do you know what one of my friends texted me today, just randomly out of the blue? She's like, "Hey, who's your favorite author?" Right? And I'm like, "Brandon Sanderson." And she's like, "I knew it." And then she sends me a clip of a movie she was watching where I think like one of the characters, they're talking to their author friend. They're like, "Oh, you're my favorite author. You know that." And they're like, "No, your favorite author is Brandon Sanderson." Right? So yeah, they saw that immediately. They remembered me. Already 2 more days before I have the book. Wonderful. You know what? In one of that scenes, the person who was a fan of Sanderson was they casually tell their friend, they're like, "Oh, while you're there, pick me up a signed copy of his book." And they're like, "Thank you, love you, bye." And then they hung up. And I actually know that his signed copies are very expensive. I don't know about the official ones, but I do know some people buy them, and when they're like out of stock, they really charge the price. So I Googled it. I found this online. This is how much a signed copy of the latest book in his latest series is. Almost $500. Now, I may be a fan, but not $500 fan. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, we're done with the graph. Back to rigging. Anyway, we were talking about what kind of books you like, and you were saying you like the ones where the characters really go through it. They suffer. It's a sad book. Blah blah blah. All that stuff, right? Boy, are you in for a surprise. Put it this way: the protagonist of the Stormlight Archives, uh, at first he's like, it is like, are the gods real? If so, why are they making me suffer? Right? And about halfway through that book, he's like, no, the gods are definitely real because this amount of suffering cannot be coincidental. Someone is intentionally making me miserable. So, yeah, it's a very, very dark book at first, right? Literally, most of the protagonists are broken in some way. That's their whole stick, right? She's almost as expensive as my base. Yeah, for a book. And it's okay, it's probably a nice book. Maybe not the ones you just pluck off the shelf because he does sell like leather bound books. Those ones, I think they're like $80. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're not $500, right? They probably have the leather bound book, right? plus it sign. So like this is double special, right? Limited edition book with signature. It was spoilers. It's not a spoiler. It's on the blurb, I think. Yeah, should be. Not $500 fan, but case not that kind of fan. Oh right, I forgot what I was doing. This is how I sit at my chair sometimes. Slouched over. It's not good. I need a better chair. But I'm thinking, do I live here long term, or do I move first and then buy furniture? Because I can get the chair while here. But then moving becomes more of a hassle. I don't read the back of the book because it immediately makes me not want to read more. Oh yeah, this one is not spoilers. This one is Sanderson's is very vague, and it always talks about like a. You know what? Let me pull up examples. Hold on. Because I only read the blurbs like after I read all of the books together, right? Because I think I was curious about it. Okay, where is this thing? Books blurb. Well, I'm glad the trigger fire redeems are working. The last stream they weren't. Okay, it is not spoilers. I will read it, and if it contains any spoilers, I won't say it. Hold on. They were over here. The blurb is not a spoiler. Where are these? I saw these before. So I think it's back cover text. Yeah, there's a bit of monologuing in the first one, and it always is like a. There are four whom we watch. First is the surgeon, forced to put aside healing to become a soldier in the most brutal war. Second is an assassin who murders a murderer who weeps as he kills. The third is a liar, young woman, blah 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 blah. It doesn't tell you who these characters are in the book, right? And even if you knew who they are, it doesn't. It's the things that are like at the very beginning, right? If that makes sense. It does not tell you anything about the book, but it gives you the sense of intrigue and mystery. So yeah, I won't read from the second book and onwards because then you might remember things while halfway through the first one. So yeah, not spoilers. So it's like one of them may redeem us, one of them will destroy us, blah 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 blah. So yeah, it gives you a taste of what the book is like, but it doesn't say like, oh, these people are gonna do this thing, but then they have like a drawback, and then they must now choose between this person and that person, and then you read the book, yeah, and basically you know what to expect because it was already on the back of the book. So yeah, Stormlight Archives, good book. But if it's very, very long, if you are not willing to trust that the author is going to get to the point, start with something smaller like Mistborn. Put it this way. I read all of the books multiple times. Sometimes when I read the when I was reading the blurb, I had no idea who it's talking about. I had to click the hyperlink so it'll like give me the name. Wait, how much is left uncovered? Like how much theorizing do I have to do after reading? Okay, let me. You know what? I'm bringing up the Sanderson chart. It's one of those days. Where is? I think it's in OBS stuff. No, not here. Sanderson yapping. Here we go. Okay. Mm, let's say you read all of the Mistborn books, both trilogies, right? Or both series, so to speak. Everything in these books happens here. Now, there are some characters from other worlds that pop in. Hoyt is my favorite, right? Who pop in into this world. Now, if you've read this one, you read this one and read this one, you'll know that, oh, he came here and then he came here, and then you'll understand like the story of like, oh, I know this guy, he's from that story, and that's why he's a little bit relevant to this part, right? Oh, that's why he knows what he knows. But if you only read this thing and you have no idea who any of these people are, it is still a good book, right? These ones are, it's like watching the Avengers movies, right? Watching a Marvel movie and then seeing a cameo of like some hero who's there for like 5 minutes and then gone. And if you know, you know, you're like, oh wow, I know that guy. That is so cool that they included it. But if you have no idea who that guy is, you'll just shrug and be like, oh, who is that guy? Anyway, back to the story. So yeah, it is like sprinkles to the story. It is a nice touch, but if you don't know who they are or have not read any of the other stuff, it doesn't matter. It is a self-contained story with little bits of elements sprinkled in. No, I was not referencing the start. Okay, so we have FNAF levels of rabbit hole. No, because a lot of things are explained, just not in this book. Like for example, no, that is spoilers. Okay, okay. I'll give you an example that is not spoilers, right? Hold on, let me get rid of that. I was reading Stormlight Archives. In the fourth book, one of the characters meets this wise old man who seems to be suspiciously good at fighting, right? And when he does things, whenever he fights, odd coincidences kept happening. Like he kept tripping over clothes, he tripped over rocks that weren't there, etc. Blah 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 blah. And then I read Warbreaker. In this thing, they have the magic to like control objects, like clothes and rocks and stuff, right? So I read this series, Stormlight Archives, really enjoyed it. It was only after I finished it and I read this one, I realized, oh, one of the characters from here was the old man who was like talking and, you know, doing that stuff, right? If I remember correctly, you made this yourself. Not this graph. Um, this was from online. This is from online. I didn't make this. I just put it because it was the best graph I could find. And then I just put like infographics, like oh, this is the cover art of the Stormlight Archives. I'm like, this story happens at this world. This series happens at this world, if that makes sense. See, and then I have the reading order here. If you want to read everything, like beginning to end, This is the way to go. Now you see, I read this is optional, right? I read Mistborn, and then I read Stormlight. No wait, I think I read Elantris, and then I read hold on, one. Then I read Stormlight Archives. Then I read yeah, this is Stormlight Archives. Yeah, then I read Stormlight Archives 6, 7, 8, right? That's a terrible 8, but you get what I mean. And then I went back to reading Warbreaker. I read them very out of order. And then one day I read everything beginning to end, and I realized this makes a lot of the hidden lore that's in the background that I did not notice the first time. I noticed again because I read everything. But I think I still borrowed. Wait, I'm trying. What's the second part of the sentence? To learn from Sanderson about world hoppers. First of all, if you play at my D&D table, you will encounter world hoppers. I don't call them world hoppers. I call them interlopers. You know what? Let me take a screenshot of this. People need to see the lore. By the way, if you've joined my Roll20 table from the one shot, you do have access to the journal, which has all of my world lore. So let me show you. In my folder, I have this, right? Each one of these, Talus is the name of a world. Unreal is the name of another world. Sakar is the name of another world. There's two more, but I haven't written the lore for them right? So each one of these, let me put it here. Each one of these is like a world on its own. And the people here that says interlopers are the people who jump between them, right? It's usually from like one to the other. Like right now, my friends in D&D 5, right? They are currently fighting people from this world that are here, right? So whenever they fight them, their magic system is very, very foreign, to the point where like the wizard does arcana checks trying to see like, hey, what kind of magic are they using? What spell was that? I'm like, this defies your understanding of magic as a whole. It's like throwing a ball and watching it fly upwards rather than fall down to gravity. So I'm like, that is the level of confusion your wizard character experiences, seeing like, hey, that should not be possible, and that is not how magic works. So yeah, I have definitely stolen that one. So the concept of world hoppers, yeah, I have yoinked that, and I'm not ashamed of that. Let me erase that. I brought this up for a reason. I forgot what it was. Yeah, it's like that in FNAF 2. You don't get all the lore in the games, the books. Okay, the lore exists. They just haven't told it to you. This one, it does exist. It just exists scattered across different planets. Like, if you read all of them, you'll understand it at first glance. Like, for FNAF, you kind of have to read really in between the lines. It's a game for theorizing more than anything. But yeah, World Hoppers is it's not too foreign of a. You could even just treat them as someone. They have the same vibe of someone from a distant land across the great ocean, right? They're. Sorry, that startled me. Wally's under my table. I was about to stretch my leg and I just touched something. I freaked out a bit. Yeah, he started sleeping under the table because Julian steals his nap spot at the top of the cupboard. The really old team, I don't think Sanders was the first one to have it. Yeah, I don't think he was the first or anything like that. He just did it really, yeah, like you said, he just did it really, really well. So that's what I really love. I've definitely stolen that from him. A lot of my, like for example, I'm not an author, right? But I do make my own worlds and stories and plot lines in D&D, right? So I do draw a lot of inspiration, not just from Sanderson, but a lot of other things that I like. So it's not like direct rip-offs. It is more just like I like the concept of in Mistborn, immortal ruler who is governed by super soldiers that no one can kill. Now, my party, my friends, they are here. They are fighting the super soldiers from here, and they're having a terrible time. So sometimes art is just a game of telephone. Yeah, it's I think Ludwig coined the term the yoink and twist. You steal and make it your own. The only because originality is overrated. Nothing is original. We all just take ideas from the things around us. I think a famous example of this is, do you guys know the movie, the very old one, The Blob That Ate Everything, or God knows what? It's just giant red blob that keeps growing and consuming and eating everything, right? Let's see if we can find a picture online. Mm, movie. Was it just called The Blob? The Blob That Ate Everything is a Goosebumps book. Hmm. I'm trying to look for a picture of it. I'm not seeing it, but this is like the closest thing. It's just like a giant blob like this. Warhammer Innsmouth, perhaps. Oh yeah, that too, right? They're diehard fanatics for their emperor. So I'm not a Warhammer fan. I don't know much of the lore, but I do know like from the memes and the vibes, they too super strong, super loyal, in huge heavy armor. Mechanical armor too. They have technology, whereas my party is fighting them with sticks and swords. But yeah, anyway, back to the point. Nothing is original. This is a movie. Giant red blob starts eating everyone, everything, and then starts growing larger and consuming the whole town. Now you're like, wow, that is an original idea. The author, if I remember correctly, I don't know if it was analysis or by the author's own words, but one of the inspirations for the blob that was consuming everything, taking over everything, was the Cold War. Because you know what else was red, growing and spreading and consuming everything? Communism. So yeah, you just look, because they would see like the news. They're like, oh, this is communist country, blah blah blah. Look, they're expanding. Everything that's red is now under communist rule. Oh no, more and more countries are falling to it. So someone is like, what if it's a giant blob that is consuming everything? And then they made the book, they made the movie, and ta-da. So yeah, that's usually where like inspiration comes from, like anything. Now, sometimes it's very direct, like I said. I draw inspiration from the Empire system here, as well as just like the vibe from Warhammer. In fact, I'll give you an example. Brandon Sanderson, very famous, well-loved book, Mistborn. One of their powers is some people who consume metal. One of their powers is they can pull metal towards them and push it away, right? And he's on record for he was explaining this power to someone, And he was very proud of coming up with it, right? He's like, oh, it's a very unique system that I came, blah, 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 blah. Someone's first response was, oh, so like Magneto. And immediately he realized, actually, yeah, it is kind of like Magneto, right? So he said, despite all of that, it's like, despite all of that, it's still a good book, right? Everyone's really, really loved it, right? So it's not okay. Sorry, it's okay to just draw inspiration, make things that are similar, so long as they are very strongly your own. Avatar or something like that, kind of. But instead of moving it back, instead of moving it like telekinesis or like Magneto, this one they can only push directly away or directly towards. So yeah, he described it as a shittier Magneto. I think was his exact words. But yeah, see, it's very similar. I don't think he used that as inspiration, but it's okay to have things that are remind you of other stuff. It's not a crime. A lot of fantasy is based off of like Lord of the Rings, you know, world of elves and random fantasy. Yeah, if you read like a lot of mainstream stuff now, heavily inspired. In fact, even a lot of isekai anime is inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. That's why you'll notice they always have like the class features, this and that, right? There's a lot of similarities if you watch isekai anime and play D&D. I like how about like an hour ago you were like, "Hey, can I still enjoy the books if I don't read everything else?" And then we went off on like a really huge tangent. Yeah, I remember. Good times. Most isekai are kind of trash nowadays, not gonna lie. True. They're okay, there's too many of them and they're not special enough. That's the only way I'll put it. If you want good isekai, Konosuba, Frieren Beyond Journey's End. Those ones, really, really good. In fact, Frieren came out. Okay, Frieren's not an isekai, but it is like fantasy world anime style. So, it's just people, elves, monsters, magic, etc. Now, it came out when everyone's like, oh, all isekai, fantasy, anime, whatever, is all bad. And then this thing came and just like stole the show. Beautiful anime, beautiful soundtrack, beautiful story, right? The worst part is the special I'm a vending machine. Oh my god. Yeah, I saw that one. I refused to believe it was real. And then I Googled it and turns out it was true. Was that actually a good show? Let me Google it. Vending machine isekai. Reborn as a vending machine, I now wander the dungeon. It's 15 episodes and is rated 4.2 stars, 34,000 reviews. That can't be right. It was so bad, I can imagine. I saw the manga before the anime announcement. Cole says, I'll go make some food to eat. Okay, we shall be here. Probably. We've been here for like 3 hours. I honestly don't know where the last hour went. I thought it'd be like, okay, I think we're almost at 2 hours. That's a good length for stream. Then I see it's almost three. I'm like, oh, oops. Okay, look, Sanderson was mentioned, and I got to talk about the things I really like. That is why I yapped for an hour and didn't even realize it. Didn't even go into a dungeon. I mean, I can look past that if the rest of the show is good. What's a good what's a good okay, you know what? I don't even care if it's isekai or not. Just fantasy anime. Okay, this one is not for everyone, right? Goblin Slayer is really, really good, but the first episode is really messed up. Like horrible levels of messed up. Now, if you're okay with seeing messed up stuff, go for it. But if you want to give it a watch, but you're not interested in seeing messed up stuff, skip the first episode. Or, or you can watch the first episode, but as soon as they start, the party you're following in the beginning starts getting killed by goblins, just skip to the end. Yeah, that's all I can say. I think it's like yeah, like 10 minutes in, like halfway through the episode, because basically they wanted that shock factor, right? Everyone in that world is like oh, they're just goblins, they're silly little things, they're like cockroaches, pests, right? So everyone underestimates them, but they're actually a really, really big threat, and no one seems to notice. It's like mosquitoes, right? You don't look at a mosquito and think, oh, this is a dangerous thing, but mosquitoes that spread malaria kill probably the most humans compared to anything else on earth, if I remember correctly. I don't know if the numbers are right, but they kill like a lot of people. But if you ask anyone, are mosquitoes dangerous? People look at you like, no, don't be crazy. They're just mosquitoes, right? So yeah, they wanted that shock factor because this party was like, oh, we're very new adventurers. Let's go kill a goblin. Let's clear out a goblin nest, come back home, and revel in glory. They go in unprepared and they immediately straight up die. So yeah, there's also like some SA stuff there in the first episode because that's how goblins reproduce. So yeah, that's why you should skip the first episode if you're not into that messed up stuff. But other than that, show was good. So it says, to be honest, I can't get into Konosuba. Something doesn't let my mind watch it for long. Understandable. Honestly, it's one of my comfort shows. It's just a dumb comedy. That's all I can say. Log Horizon is pretty good. Not Freerun good, but good. I mean, Freerun is a really high bar, so I can understand. What is the blurb? The future of the fantasy world now lies in the hands of a vending machine. Boxo was once a human until he died in an accident and was reincarnated as a sentient piece of machinery. While he can still hear and see, there's no way for him to move by himself or speak more than his programmed phrases. How can he make the most of this strange new life? Okay, it sounds even worse than I thought. I thought he could talk and do things. But it has a lot of good reviews. But this is Crunchyroll, so you know what? It's fine. Let's just leave it. Let's not dwell on it. If it's good and people liked it, they're allowed, they're allowed to like it. It's not a to each their own is what I'll say. You can kind of talk with a few pre-made phrases. Yeah, I mean like sorry, I imagine what's it called? I imagine the pre-recorded stuff on the vending machine says that not enough change or dispensing drink, that kind of stuff. I wish Supreme Matrix was made into an anime series. Good anime, not solo leveling, slop adaptation. You know what? I kind of liked solo leveling the anime. Now, hear me out. Is it good? It was okay. Now, why did I like it? I like the beginning. I like season one because he's weak and his story of getting stronger is like, oh, this would make a good character arc in D&D. And then I started watching the second season. And in the second season, he's like overpowered and literally everyone just fawns over him like, oh my god, he's so cool, he's so powerful, he can do anything. He one shots the strongest boss without breaking a sweat, right? Every time he kills an enemy, he becomes even stronger, right? And I didn't like it because I'm like, okay, this is very broken for a player, right? And I can't use this in D&D, and I wasn't enjoying the show until it clicked to me. This would make a really bad player experience, but make a really good villain experience. Imagine you have a villain who is he was just a so bad guy, right? The party will beat him and be like, I'll get you next time, you rotten kids. And they're like, yeah, villain of the week. That was easy. What loot did we get? And then the next time you meet him, he's a little stronger. Maybe he has more minions. And then they win again. Maybe not as easily, but not a problem. And then he comes back again. He's even stronger. Again, even stronger. Again, even stronger, to the point where he doesn't even show up anymore. He just sends his goons. He sends his minions, and his minions are strong. Until eventually they're like, oh, let's go. Oh, this guy is the one responsible for all this? Yeah, we beat him like 12 times. Let's go beat him one more time to put an end to this. And then they finally see him after such a long time, and he is like 12 times more powerful, right? And I think that'll be a very interesting boss fight, like the end of the arc, end of the story. You know, like this person was getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and now the person they thought was like a joke is now, you know, super powerful. A solid 4.8 out of 10. Yeah, I enjoyed it because of I was using it as inspiration for other stuff. I wasn't just watching it like, oh, this is a cool story. I mean, it was in season one. Season two, he got too powerful. It got boring, right? He's just standing and looking cool. That is the show. That's the anime in a nutshell. When it comes to fantasy, another one I actually like is Magi. Never heard of it. What is good anime? Things are a little recent. I'm not talking about like classics from 15 years ago. Mm, My Hero Academia. I liked the beginning. I didn't like maybe the last few seasons. What about Shadow Slave? I'm still reading The Count of Monte Cristo. So yeah. One book at a time is my policy. Going out of fantasy, I also like Windbreaker as a recent show. Yeah, it doesn't have to be fantasy. I'm trying to remember what is a good one. Okay, Call of the Night is a very interesting one. It's almost slice of life about vampires, you know? It's someone who his life is just very mundane and boring. And one day he's like this sucks. And not in a angry, sad anything. He's just like a cold, depressed-ish thing. So he's like, I'm just not gonna go to school. And instead he just starts wandering around at night, because at night he feels free, right? He's like, there's no one around, there's no expectations, no one telling me what I need to do, what I have to do. And then he meets a vampire and then, you know, starts hanging out with her. And then he decides, you know what? I want to be a vampire because I like the night, right? I want to be like you. Call of the Night introduced me to Creepy Nuts. Oh, yeah. I really like the band that made the song. Did you know they made the song Call of the Night? And then the creator of the anime was so inspired by the song, he made the show. I think he made the book and then it was turned to a show. But just like the story, what's it called? The story was inspired by the song. And when he told the band is like, hey, we love that for you. You can use the song as the intro. So yeah, that's a cool fun fact I learned recently. Please don't ignore the recommendation. It's actually good. Like the animation. What was it again? Watch Lord of Mysteries. Why is that familiar? Okay, supernatural steampunk mystery. Starts a bit slow in order to fully develop the world, but then dives into the mystery and supernatural. It has a good review, and I do like world building. You know what? I'm adding this to my list. Because I have an app that tracks like my shows when they come out, what I've watched, etc. Hold on. Lord of Mysteries. I've added it to my list, which is perfect because I'm almost done with the last season of Supernatural. That's my show to binge, right? So I need something to fill the void afterwards. Is it steampunk? Apparently. So yeah, I'll take a look at that. It's kind of steampunky, big hella power system, like big. Steam power is literally just gears, cogworks, and steam. It doesn't have to be big and bulky. Now let me look at some images. It does look steampunk themed, like their clothing. I'm not seeing any technology. All I'm seeing is just like pictures of the character. Steampunk. Okay, I've taken a look at the city. Yeah, this is definitely... This looks steampunk. I'm seeing an airship. Yeah, that's usually associated with steampunk. But yeah, if you guys play D&D in the world of Sakar, the first campaign I want to run will be in steampunk revolution, industrial revolution era, sorry, not area. Because that world was my attempt at a more technologically developed world. It's transmitigated. That word means nothing to me because I have not seen the show. It'll make sense when I watch it, so don't worry. Yeah, steampunk is nice. Or steampunk master performance. Oh, I was wondering what a steampunk mask would look like. Then I remember seeing some. I was like, okay. Because when I think steampunk, I think people in top hats and suits. Okay, the ads are done. Okay. Can we finish this today? It's been... It's been 3 hours already. You know what? We can call it a day. We can raid Nadia. They were here the other day. So, we can go pop in, say hi, show, some support. And yeah. Give me the mask with like gear so I can say, oh, okay, yeah. Let's raid Nadia. Yeah, we are. Don't worry. So yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. I hope you had a great time. I know I did. There's a lot of yapping today. I was even thinking, do we keep going? I can play the little dating sims if I'm a bit tired from doing the art stuff. But I'm like, nah, it's okay. We can call it a day. We can save some excitement for next time. Restaurant Orient, please read. Isn't it a show or is it a book? Because I thought it was a show. Anyway, yeah, timer's running out. So thanks for stopping by. Remember, send your love and support to the creator. Bye bye. Bye.